Hi there, it's Mark and welcome to the very last episode of Mastering Masks in Adobe Lightroom. How did you enjoy the challenges last week? From one or two comments I got, you were quite good at them, so well done. We started off with the very basics, including some sky masks, which we'll be coming back to, and we've worked our way all the way through to really detailed refinements using Intersect. Today I'm going to wrap things up and take a little trip back to some of the tools, tips, tricks and techniques we've discussed so far, but improve them, improve how we use them, improve how we adopt them and apply them, and on the route make some presets. So this picture is an example of what I'm talking about. If you remember this first episode, of course you remember the first episode, it's ingrained in your memory, where we looked at sky and we applied a sky mask. And we found that the sky masking can be overzealous sometimes. Notice how the mask is bleeding down into the castle. In fact, the whole horizon has got it. Now, in some instances, that's perfect. Depending on what you want to do with the sky, what tonal changes you want to do, what coloration you might want to do, that feathering, that bleeding in might work. But if you want a real precise selection of the sky, that isn't it. So we worked out a fix. Do you remember the fix? Of course you don't. The fix was to subtract the sky from the sky and invert it. Sounded convoluted. It's actually easy. If you want to rewatch episode 1, it's in there. However, you don't have to, because we're going to cover it today. Not necessarily by repeating it. What we're going to do today is we're going to build a little preset to apply that mask for us with the fix. And here it is. I'll just play it. Did it work? Of course it worked. Just worked behind the scenes. Look, it's already there. There's the mask. And there's the fix. The additional subtraction of the sky. But more importantly, look. There's very little, if any, bleed now in there. So sometimes sky mask is great. Sometimes you need to do the fix. Can't remember the fix? Hit the preset. That is what we're doing today. With lots of other masks as well. So do you want to build some presets? Do you want to fix your masks? Do you want to speed your masking up? Stick around. I'm going for coffee. I'm playing the titles. You go and collect the files. As usual, they're in a zip file on my website and the link is down below. You know the drill by now. Let's get cracking. And so to building our very first mask-based preset. Let's create the mask first. We've got to do the layer bit at least once. So let's choose sky. Let's subtract sky and let's invert it. For that was the fix. And let's call it sky fix. All right. I'm not interested in using that mask to edit this particular picture. All will become apparent. I now want to create a preset. So come over here to presets, and there's an awful lot of presets. You might find it daunting, you might love them. You can always search for whichever one you want. But like me, I'm not a fan, I don't use them a great deal, I'm going to get rid of them. Click on the plus, click on manage presets. I'm going to check none. I can then choose to select in particular groups if I do indeed use them. But I'm just going to choose my own. And now my preset list is very short. We haven't lost them. You can always go back in to manage presets, check all or selectively check, and you're away. Right, create a new preset. Back on the plus, create preset. Now I don't know the state of this form when it pops up for you. It could be it's fully populated. It inherits whatever the last group of ticks were. But let's check none. And let's check masking with our sky fix. Let's give it a name. So sky mask with fix. And let's put it in a group of our own. So a new group, and I'm going to call this MAH mask presets. So I'm getting a new group. Oops, I might as well capitalize that. I'm getting a new group and I'm getting a new preset in it. There's my new group and there's the preset. Okay, Why did I not want to edit this? I just proving a point really. Let's edit this one. It's a completely different sky. It's got different colours, it's got clouds. It's got a different horizon, which is the most important thing. There is currently no mask on this. So if we now just click on our fix, it now has a mask. There's the mask. And notice how it is very precise with very little bleed at all. And if we open it up, there's the fix that we applied. So now we can edit this. What do I want to do? Probably bring the highlights down to get a bit more definition in that cloud. Possibly even a little bit more clarity to darken off the bottom. I certainly want to crop this picture. And I'm going to leave it at that because the actual edit wasn't that important. What was more important to show you where the presets were, how to create one, the fact that these particular presets we're looking at are dynamic. There are some things which are not dynamic, such as if you did a mask based on a brush, that would not be dynamic. But masks that are based on subject, sky, background, people, landscape objects, not objects, not brush, color ranges and luminance ranges are all adaptive. Linear gradient and radial gradient are not adaptive. They are put a particular place on the screen and they'll be in that place on subsequent pictures. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's move on now to a new picture. And how's about that smile for brightening your day? Now, as with the other picture, I'm not going to edit this one, but I'm going to use it to create the masks and again reinforce the fact that these are adaptive. So this is an ideal one for finding a person. Let's see how long it would take manually. I'm going to click on there, wait for it to detect the person. This is very variable depending on what PC and everything you've got. Click on the person and I'm going to choose all of these individual ones. Now clearly I've picked a picture where each of those is present and create. And I'm going to be a bit OCD again and I'm going to label these clothes to help if I spell. Okay, hair, bear with me, I might just speed this bit up. Okay, that took a little bit more time, but this is a one-off and it means we've got really good documented masks. Let's create the preset, shall we? So over here we click plus, create preset. We will choose our group, which is already there. We will check all of the masks and we're going to call this one all body parts. Click create. We can call it anything you like and there you go, all body parts. I don't think this picture needs any editing at all, but it's a good one for making you smile. Let's look at our next picture. In fact, no, I'll tell you what we'll try. G for a gallery view. I've got 3 to do, so let's hold down my shift key while I click on all 3, and where it says saved presets, let's try and apply our preset all body parts to these 3. It could have been 4, it could have been 10, it could have been 20 or whatever. Now remember, we haven't put edits in these, we've only done the masks, so if there's a missing component, we're not wasting any time. It doesn't really matter that there's no clothes on this one. It will create the mask, but we don't have to use it. Okay, let's Control D to deselect and go and have a look at this one. D for a develop module. Go to masks and there they all are. All in the right place, on the right objects, ready for us to edit. Next picture. Masks, body skin is missing as you'd expect, there's a little triangle there. Clothes are missing as you'd expect, but everything else is there Iris is there, even though there's only one of them. Eye whites are there, even though there's only one of them. Let's go to our next picture. Masks, and no surprising, they are all there. Now I'm not going to bother doing edits on these particular ones, and I have included these pictures in the zip file anyway, but that just shows another power of once you've got a preset saved that is adaptive. You can have varying pictures and apply it. Let's now move on to looking at tonal control in masks that is adaptive. So with this picture, we're going to create a range of masks and put them into the presets for targeting tonal control. So we're going to base it on luminosity. Now I like black and white. I take a lot of black and white photos, and I edit a lot in black and white. So because of that, and anyone else who edits in black and white a lot, the same will apply. You get a better appreciation of the individual tonal changes, the ranges that each of these sliders give you, but also the constraints. So you understand the benefits and the limitations more than when it is a color picture. At least that's my experience. Yet I found them a little bit lacking in some instances. Two case studies. One, I'm leaving to another video. In a few weeks' time, I've got a video coming out called Zen and the Art of Applying Contrast. And I put it to you in that video that sometimes contrast is not your friend, and I explain why. And I show how using these other four main tone sliders can be of more benefit. But that's not necessarily to do with masks. So this other side of it is you get an appreciation for the overall luminance and wanting to edit within a luminance range. Not lower the highlights or heighten the highlights or lower the whites. You're looking at a luminance range within which to do a particular edit or edits. And I found, after a bit of experimentation, that you need two. My two are called high side and low side. I've got a preset. Well, actually I don't. I deleted the preset in order to rebuild it for this video. So let's create it and all should become apparent. I want a luminosity range. I don't care where I click, because I'm going to change the range here. The black rectangle is the actual range. It's currently at 0, and I'm going to drag this up till it hits 50. So now I've got mid-tones all the way down to blacks, but I'm going to feather those all the way out, and I'm going to call this one low side. Rather than do it again, I'm just going to duplicate low side, call it high side, and then within this I'm going to slide that over so that I've got the top 50%, but I'm going to bring the feather all the way down. So I've now got two masks, one which is all the top half of a luminosity range, whatever the picture is, one or the lower half luminosity range, whatever the picture is, and both cross feather. This gives me a greater advantage in applying edits in a tonal situation. So here we go. Let's create the preset first. I was just about to use those, but if I used them and created the preset would have contained the values of the sliders I put on them. So let's create the preset before we actually use them. Create preset, call it high side, low side, or something like that. Include the masks, click create, and now let's use them. So for the high side, I actually might want to bring the highlights down a little bit. I would have anyway in this picture, but I also want to put clarity in. Now the clarity is not just on the highlights, it's anything in the upper half of the luminosity range. And in the low side, I'm going to add a little bit of clarity I think as well. And I'm going to bring the exposure up a touch, like such. And for the hell of it, a tiny little bit of temperature change to get a little bit of sepia coming in there. And before and after, that's my edit. What would this look like on a color picture? Well, let's apply the preset. done. High side, I'm going to bring highlights down again, and I'm going to soften them, I think, with a bit of texture. Now, because most of them were in the sky, I feel benefit of doing that is fine. And on the low side, I'm going to touch up the clarity. But all of these, remember, are targeted adjustments. I'm not just putting clarity on the general edit, because that would be clarity on everything. Now I can put clarity in different amounts according to whether you're in the lower band of luminosity or the higher band of luminosity. Incidentally, I've done 2 here. You could use the same thing with the feathers on either side and have 4, 8, 10, whatever, and name them accordingly. But in my experience from the black and white world, certainly I found that as well as the normal tonal controls, using a high side and low side is very beneficial to the edit. And I think I would just leave that like that. On this actual picture, I might put a little vignette on as well, just to draw the eye in. And before and after with the backslash key, that is my edit. So that is high side and low side. Let's do one more to do with colour. Now, there's already a lot of very good editing tools for colour. For example, in our normal day-to-day editing, we've got Colour Mixer, which allows us to look at any one colour using a picker, and it will find the colour for us and adjust the sliders accordingly. I thought that might have just been a blue, but apparently it's got purple in, as you can see both those sliders to the right moving. So you can do that for saturation, you can do it for hue, you can do it for luminance. So there's an easy and effective way to target a colour, but only to change its hue, saturation and luminance. Then you've got point colour, which allows you to colour grade, and you've got colour grading, but they all just vary the hue, saturation and luminosity of colours. It's not until you come into masks that you can now start and pick a colour, say that green, and refine it in order to then apply any other tonal, including colour changes that we've already seen we can do anyway, and textures. And to that end, it's really good. However, I found on occasion sometimes just having the basic colours called out is a good enough option. And as we've seen from clicking presets, it's one click to do the prep work. Well, it's what we're about to do to make the preset, and then forever more shall be so. It's one click to apply it. So I want to create a range of colours here. So let us use this, which is also in the supplied pack, to give ourselves a whole range, one-off design of some colour ranges. So let's go into colour range, choose that one. Now we won't bother refining it, and we'll just call it red. Duplicate, and we'll skip over that one. We'll go to this one, violet. Now you could use any colour wheel or any reference you actually wanted to do this. And we go blue. You get the idea. Now don't forget, if you don't even want to do these, the final thing we're going to look at today is how you can import these from a download, which I will provide. And we're back. So now let's create a preset. There are some other edits on here, so I'm going to get rid of those. So nothing else is edited on this except for our masks. We could add more, we could add less, but let's do it anyway. Let's create a preset and call it basic color masks. Just fix that and choose our masks. Okay, let's go back to this picture. So now on this picture I can apply my basic color masks, done, and there they are there. So if I quickly want to target, say, the violet type colors in here, I can go to the violets, I can choose to refine it, and then within that I can do whatever I want to do, which is possibly add a bit of clarity, like so, bring them down a little bit, and oversaturate them too. And now I think I want to do the same with yellow, albeit the yellow isn't very much, so in this case I am going to increase the range of the yellow to get it into that stonework, and I'm going to do the same thing, saturation, clarity, and also bring them down a little bit. And I think finally I'll go blue, probably a little bit too much blue there. I'm going to bring that down, and again I'm going to go saturation on the blue, clarity, and darken it a little bit, and before and after on that particular picture. And I do think this picture, like the previous one, would benefit from a little bit of a vignette. So there you have it. We've revisited the masks, we've looked at some of the limitations, we've exploited some of the adaptive features that there are in it, we've created a whole series of presets, and we've practiced them. I hope you found that whole course useful. Before we go, there's a small matter of, well, there's two or three or four. There's the matter of clicking subscribe if you haven't already. There's a matter of ringing the bell to be notified of future episodes, such as Zen and the Art of Contrast that's coming up. There's the matter of giving this a thumbs up, because we like thumbs up, YouTube likes thumbs up, I like YouTube liking thumbs up because it puts my videos in front of more people. And the small matter of importing these had you not chosen to build them yourself. So let me export this group, and I'm going to put it in my desktop. Yes, I'll put it in my desktop, and I'm going to call it well, mask presets, and save. I'm now going to delete these and delete all the masks that went with it. They've now gone. How to load them? Okay, well, we're in Lightroom, we're in a develop module, we're going to go to presets to import them, but first let's go and find where it exported the files, which was my desktop, and let's unzip it. There they are. Now let's go to presets, import presets, go into the folder, 1, 2, 3, I'm holding down my shift key, 4, and import. And there they all are. There's all our presets inside the named group. Let's prove that one of them works by, on this picture here, choosing body parts. And there you go. All these body parts not found. Face, body, eyebrows, as you would expect. So, happy editing. I'll include that zip file in with the zip of all of these pictures for today. And that's it. Course done. I'd appreciate your feedback and comments, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.